An anti-vaccine group is taking multiple levels of government to court over their COVID-19 responses. They say pandemic measures like mandatory mask wearing and physical distancing violate the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So they are suing the federal government, the province of Ontario, and the city of Toronto. CBC's Colin Butler has been digging into the story for us, and he has these exclusive details.
This statement of claim is pretty sweeping. It's 191 pages, and what it alleges is that governments and health officials violated the plaintiffs' rights through the pandemic response, and that includes shutdowns of businesses, masking laws, and physical distancing. The lawsuit calls this extreme, arbitrary, and potentially psychologically harmful. Rocco Galati, the lawyer and spokesman on this file for Vaccine Choice Canada, initially spoke to us off the record, but wouldn't respond to requests for comment after that. No statement of defense has been filed in this. We don't know when this is going to trial. In fact, there may even be, we're not even sure if it'll make it through Ontario's rules of civil procedure. This lawsuit is seeking $1 million in general damages, $10 million in specific damages. And what makes this significant at this point is there are copies of this lawsuit out there, this statement of claim, but details in it have been redacted by the plaintiffs, the names, some of their stories. And so the CBC has obtained an unredacted copy, and we can tell you some of those stories for the very first time. They include a Hamilton man. This is a 23-year-old. He has the emotional equivalent of a 4-year-old. And his guardians claim that he's found this pandemic so confusing that it's devastated him. It's disrupted his social routines. It's disrupted his life, and he can't understand why. There's another story of a woman from Mississauga, and she can't wear a mask in a public place, she says, because it triggers a traumatic memory of a sexual assault. So when she goes in public, she has to make a choice: either disclose this to somebody, or risk being kicked out of a local business. So these are claims that legal scholars say should be heard in open court, where the public should have a debate over under which circumstances should people wear a mask, and should we enforce these rules with grace. Now, the reason this probably won't be heard in court is because intertwined with these claims are other claims. And I'll give you an example of one of them. The pandemic in quotes, is false, and the measures phony, designed and implemented for improper and ulterior purposes at the behest of the WHO, controlled and directed by billionaire corporate oligarchs. Another one says the plaintiffs state, and the fact is that the evidence is that far more many people have died as a result of the pandemic measures, pandemic in quotes again, themselves than purportedly from the COVID-19 deaths, also in quotes, even if one takes the deaths caused, in quotes, by COVID-19 as a given. And so these claims, since they can't be supported by fact or in some cases science, scholars say they may not be heard. They may not even reach the court and the judge under Ontario's rules of civil procedure. There's also references to the Chinese military, 5G networks, international vaccine programs. And so the legal scholar says that if the court did hear this, it would risk throwing the law into disrepute. Colin Butler, CBC News, London, Ontario.